we start with today's class, I just want to give a quick recap of what we have discussed yesterday. Okay. So yesterday we were discussing about operators and the various security levels in Pega. So let me give you a quick recap. Okay. So operator, you can find him here. Who is an operator? Any person who can access Pega, we call them as operators in Pega. Let it be a user or a developer or a manager, reviewer, anybody. So anybody who can access a Pega portal, we call them as operators in Pega. And operators are stored in a table, PR_operators in Pega. Okay. So operator is a data instance. It's a record that we pull from DB. So what does operator contain? Operators contain information about the person, like first name, last name, phone number, email ID, and other things. Then they contain the information about the job, like which organization, which division, which unit, his reporting manager. So we discussed all that here, right? His reporting manager, his skills, okay, his scheduled leave, who is his replacement when he go on leave, his time zones, and everything. Okay? Then the security information like changing his password or using single sign-on are enabled here. Then the most important thing that he holds is access group. Right, I'm just giving a recap of yesterday's class for those who just joined. The most important thing that the operator carries. So what does an access group tell? Access group tells like what level of access this operator has. What level of access in the sense? Let's say for example, on this particular server stack, okay, I might have multiple applications. Maybe I'm having an application of credit card. Maybe I'm having an application related to some banking. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. The most important thing that is going to contain is the access group. So this access group tells which application he can access. So I can have many applications on this particular server stack. It can be one thing related to banking, one thing related to credit card, and one thing something else. Okay. So this access group tells me which applications I can have access. Okay. So why do you need access group? Because for a particular operator, you need to map many things. Like you need to tell him like which application he can access. You need to tell him which portals he can access. Because let's say like you and I belong to the same application, but still maybe I'm an end user, maybe you are a developer and somebody else is a manager and somebody else is an auditor. So the role you play is quite different. Okay? So irrespective of the access group, the roles and the portals also differ. So for each and every operator, you need to specify the application he can access, the portals he can see, the role that he plays, okay, and the many things that you need to map. So we create a single instance called as access group, and you maintain all this information in the access group. So let me open the access group. So wherever you find the magnifying icon, it means that you can open it. Look at the top, it's access group. Okay? And access group name is always my application name, colon, my role. So MMT colon users, MMT colon managers, MMT colon something else. So it contains application name, the application that you can access. If you see here, there are many applications in the stack. Okay. So I can access only MMT. Then what are the various portals I can see? What are the various roles I play? Okay. So you maintain it in an access group because, like let's say for example, tomorrow somebody else joins into my application. I can't create again all the instances for him, right? Like all the portals, roles, and everything for him. So you maintain one access group, and whenever somebody joins, I simply map the access group to him, then he'll get all these things, like whatever is specified here. Okay? So one single point of contact for all these mappings you can see, access group. And always remember, access group to application is one-on-one mapping. So in one access group, you can specify only one application. The portals, roles are like one to many. You can have many portals, you can have many roles. Okay? And operator to access group is one to many. One operator can have many access groups, means I can access many applications, but not more than one at a point of time. I can access many applications, but for which I need to switch my application. So currently I see MMT. Now when I switch it, I can go to the other application. But when I stay like this, I can access only MMT application. I can't access the others. Okay? So that's how it is. Like one to many mapping, but still not all applications at a go. Like one at a point of time. Okay? So this is what we have discussed in the last class about operators, their access group, and we went much more deeper. We discussed about access roles and role to objects. So roles are basically used like Boolean variables. Let's say I have given you a role called as MMT colon administrator. So somewhere in my code, whenever you click a button or there's some screen, which should be visible only to the administrator. Okay. So there, I'll put a condition. If operator has role MMT colon administrator, then do this. Else, don't do this. So just like using like a flag variable, you are going to use it. So operator will have the role and you use it in your logic. So let me open the roles. They don't contain any information inside them. This says that they are being used at all these places. That's it. You have to use them like a flag variable. Then going to role to object. So here you specify the privileges at various environment levels. Means I can open a rule, I can write a rule, I can delete a rule. Similarly, I can open work objects, delete work objects, write work objects, executing reports, executing activities. So at what level? I mean like dev, QA, UAT, production, so at various environment levels. Now if you see in the Pega installation configuration file, they'll specify like 1 means this environment, 2 means this environment, they'll specify, Pega admins will do it. So you have to just come and tell here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I say like 1, which means that I can execute activities only till pre-development or development. If I say 4, means that I can execute activities till UAT. So that's why you're controlling access at various environment levels. I may be a developer, but it doesn't mean that I can access the code in prod, right? I can't delete the code in prod or do such things in prod. So my access has to be restricted to a certain level. That restriction at environment level is specified here. Okay? So that's a high-level recap of the application, operators and access group. Now moving to the next one. So, as you all know, like Pega is an application which is completely built on Java, right? So how do you work in Java? Like how does your application work? You have some classes, okay? You have methods inside them, you have functions inside them. Then you have that main method where you create an instance of an object of your class and you trigger the functions and all that, right? Similarly, even in Pega, we have the concept of classes. We do have that methods, functions, if-else, nested ifs, all that we do here. Okay? So let's discuss about classes, the inheritance, and how do we work in Pega. Okay? So next topic is about classes. So App Explorer is the place where you can find the various classes in your application. Okay? So if you go over here, and if you see, these are all the classes that I hold in my current application. Okay. So let me take any one class. Okay. The leaf icon indicates it is a class, and if you expand it, you will find the various rules inside it. Okay. Let me open a classroom. Right click and say definition. Class is a collection of rules. A rule means anything executable, maybe a function, maybe a method, maybe a flow, maybe a decision, maybe a report. Anything executable, we call them as rules. Okay. So this is a class rule in Pega. The name of my class rule is go over -mmt work e-ticket. Why is my name so lengthy and why are there hyphens? We do have a purpose for it. Okay. So let me take an example and explain you. Okay. So every we have a concept of inheritance, right? Inheritance means code reusability using the parents code. Okay. So in Pega, what happens is that whenever you have an inheritance, your class name itself indicates who is your parent. Okay. So let's say like A is the topmost parent of my application. Okay. So I'll have a class called as A. Okay. Now I have another child class called as B, and B wants to inherit from A. So whenever you create a child class B, your class name should be as A-B. It means that B is going to inherit from A. When I create another class C, my class name will be A-B-C if I want to inherit from B. Or if I want to inherit from A, it would have been A-C. So and so on. So class name in Pega indicates your inheritance. Okay. Now, let's come to the types of inheritance in Pega. Just a second, guys. Just a second, guys. Somebody didn't receive the meeting invite. Okay. So then A-B-C and all those things. Types of inheritance in Pega. Pega supports two types of inheritance. One is called as pattern inheritance, and the other one is called as directed inheritance. Okay. So guys, I have PPTs and materials for all those things. Okay. I'll be sharing it with you. You can go through them. So what is pattern inheritance? The naming pattern indicates your hierarchy. Okay. So just like this, A-B, A-B-C, So D is my current class, whose parent is C, whose parent is B, and whose parent is A. So that's pattern inheritance. And coming to directed inheritance, okay. So we manually specify a class as parent. So what happens sometimes, see, my current class is D, okay, I can inherit from ABC, I'm very happy with this. But sometimes there can be a chance that you can have a class called as E-F-G. Okay, E-F otherwise, okay. And somehow I want to use a component which is an F class, okay. But because it doesn't fall anywhere in my hierarchy, I can't use it. Then what can I do? Then I can make E-F as my directed parent. So you can specify some other class as a directed parent. Then both become your parents. So ABC is my parent and ENF is also my parent. Like this, you can do that. So your name indicates who is your current parent, and here you can specify your directed parent. So based on your requirement, you go for this. Okay. And one very good example for this is, let's say you are purchasing a framework from Pega Systems. Guys, as I told you, framework is nothing but a layer in Pega, and it is an application which is built irrespective of organization and division. Means if I put some logic or some function in framework, it is like reusable for everybody, irrespective of the domain, irrespective of the project. Okay? So Pega sells many frameworks. Okay, we purchase it, we load that, then we build an application above it. Not necessary every time, okay? Most of the companies build their own frameworks, okay? Some people buy it. It's up to you or choice, okay? But always remember that you have 4 layers in your application, right? Organization, division, framework, and implementation. So framework layer is something which is reusable across projects, okay? So now let's say, for example, I purchased a framework from Pega system. I installed it onto my machine. Okay. Now I want to build my new application above that framework as an enhancement to it. How do I build it? That framework has classes something as ABC. My new application classes have class called as XYZ. How do my XYZ inherit from ABC? They're completely different, right? So then comes the concept of directed inheritance. So I'll make that ABC as a directed parent of my XYZ. Okay. Then. And a very good example is, you can't build an application in Pega if directed inheritance is not available. Guys, why am I telling you this? Is a very important interview question. People ask me, why do you need directed inheritance? Then if you say, like, if I want to build my application in Pega, I need directed inheritance because Pega is an application, right? It has its own classes, own functions, own methods and everything. And you're building your application above it. Means you want to reuse the components of Pega. Means you need inheritance. How do you get inheritance? You can't become a pattern parent, right? Because your class names are different, their class names are different. Then you need directed inheritance. So your application and Pega application has a directed inheritance. That is the reason you are able to access the code of Pega. Got it? This is a perfect answer when somebody asks you, like, why do you need directed inheritance? Can't we build an application in Pega without? Yes, you can't build an application in Pega without directed inheritance. Okay? And always remember that pattern inheritance is the first preference and then the directed inheritance. Means at one time, let's say I'm searching for a role called as some function, something like has special characters. Okay? First, Pega will search in the pattern parent. If it has not found anywhere in the pattern, then it will search in the directed. So, pattern is preferred first, then directed at runtime. Okay. Take a minute, try to understand it, then let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, I have a question. Okay, so give you for your question, you can see my class name. It's like this. Organization name hyphen, okay, my division name hyphen work. Or organization hyphen, division hyphen, unit hyphen work it will be. I don't have unit, so it is organization hyphen, division hyphen work. So in your case it is A hyphen, B hyphen, C hyphen work for implementation layer. And for framework layer it will be A hyphen, FW hyphen, like whatever it is, BFW hyphen work it is. Guys, he has a question, like he has given me organization, division and framework name. So he's asking me like how the class name gets formed. So if you take it every time in a Pega application, your class name is always a combination of organization hyphen, division hyphen, unit hyphen work. Okay. So my organization name is GoOR. It is actually a GoAbiva kind of application. So I named it as GoORG. So GoOR, organization name hyphen, my application name MMT hyphen work. Okay. So this is implementation layer. Similarly, you can see the other layers, GoOR hyphen, FW hyphen, MMT FW hyphen work and so on. Okay. Please take your time. Try to understand the inheritance and get me back with your questions. So get back to me with your questions. How we define directed inheritance as a developer? Do I need to define or create a class? Yes, as a developer, we need to define and create classes. So directed inheritance, you will specify over here. In the class rule, you have to specify over here. So here you will see all the available classes. Okay, if you just do a down arrow, you'll see all the classes, irrespective of your application. Whatever is there on your stack, you will see here. So you have to choose like what you want to make as your directed parent based on your requirement. Usually for every implementation layer, framework is the parent. For every framework layer, organization is the parent. That's how like we do it. Okay. I make my framework as my parent because currently I am in implementation layer. And if you open this framework, framework usually has this, but this is still framework only. Okay, sorry. Here, you can see directly it is coming from Pega. So guys, class name, if you see like this, go on hyphen, application, organization name hyphen, application name hyphen, work hyphen something, it's implementation layer. If you see something with SW, then it is framework layer. Okay. So if you see this is my framework layer, this is also my framework layer, which is inheriting from work dash cover dash. Work is a Pega default class. So from Pega product, this class is inheriting. This is framework. From framework, my implementation is inheriting. Okay. So as I told you, if there is no directed inheritance, I could not have built an application on Pega. The reason is, see, I have to inherit from Pega to build my application. And whenever you create a new application, a fresh application, these configurations will come by default for the few specified classes that you create at that point of time. So whenever you're building a fresh application, maybe you will build hardly 2 to 3 classes, not more than that. But as you keep getting enhancements and new requirements, you build new classes, right? That time you need to take care like what is your directed and what is your pattern parent. Okay? But when you build a fresh application, Pega will take care, like putting all this work dash, cover dash, framework, implementation, relations and all that. Pega takes care. And you can change this at any point of time. But it's always good, like whenever you're making it for the first time, you have to make sure like you're taking the proper parent. Okay, and the class, so on the question, I have created a class and used the wrong class. Can I go back and change it? I have to create a new one from scratch. No, you can change your class name. There is a wizard to change your class name. So like this you can go. Like somebody has a question, like he has built an application, he has a class, you want to change the name of the class. So you can go to System Refactor Classes and you can change your class name there. Rename a class, you can rename it. This is a wizard. Okay, select this and you can go ahead. Okay, so you can select your old class name here, give you a new class name here, then just the next and finish. The new class will be created and all the rules in the old class will be moved to new class. Okay. Okay. So this is about your inheritance in Pega. Okay. And Pega supports multiple inheritance which was not possible in Java. How multiple inheritances? You have both pattern and directed, right? So you have two parents. Okay. Then again there's an interview question they ask you, Pega is built on Java. Pega can do multiple inheritance. Java could not do it. How can that be achievable? Very simple answer, right? It was even possible in Java. If you remember, we have that interface concept. Okay. So you can inherit it from a direct parent or you have that interface concept. Same thing is happening in Pega also. Okay. You have directed parent and inherited as per normal pattern parent. Okay. So this is about classes. Now let's look at the various components in a class. So this is my class name, class type. So you have two class types, concrete class and abstract class. Just like in Java. Concrete class means my class will have instances, means work object can be created for my class. Abstract class means my class will not have any work object creation. It is just a class which can store some reusable components. That's it. Abstract class means no work objects, no instances. Okay. You just create an abstract class so that you can store all the common components of all your child classes in you. So they can reuse from you. Okay. For your reusability, you build the abstract classes. Then, version, I'll tell you later. We have something called as Rulesets and versions, I'll tell you. Then, is a class group belongs to a class group, does not belong to a class group. Is a class group means the current class is going to act as a class group, means it will share its table with other child tables, other child classes. So let's say, when I say like A is a class group, okay, it means that its children B, C, D can store their work objects in the table which is mapped to A. Before I tell you that, I have to tell you one thing. Every class in Pega is mapped to a table. Every concrete class in Pega is mapped to a table. Okay? So, A will be mapped to a class, table, B will have a table, C will have a table, and D will have a table. Now, if I say A is a class group, it means that A wants to share the table with its children. So, B, C, D can put their instances in the table of A. So, when you go for such concepts, let's say I have a class called as card. Okay. Under this, I have two child classes called as card-debit, card-credit. Okay. So, card is already having the table. Okay. And like whenever some end user creates a case from my application, you can select either credit card or you can apply for either debit card. Okay. So, end of the day, I want to maintain only one common table. Because let it be any type of card, but the process of the variables that I require are one and the same. So, why two tables? Why not one single table? So, in that case, we make this class as a class group. Okay. Sorry, I give it as a class group. Okay. This is again where somebody has audio problem. Okay. So, I'll say that card is a class group and these two belongs to a class group. Means I share a table with someone. Same is the case here. Belongs to a class group means you are sharing your parent's table. Class group means I am the parent, I am sharing my table with my children. Okay. So, that is the concept of class group, nothing but sharing tables. Is a class group? Belongs to a class group. Okay. Does not belong to a class group means I neither share my table nor I share somebody's table. Independent. Okay. That is about this one. One second. I changed something. Then I'll come back to block later. Then inheritance we discussed. Okay. So this is my directed parent. And text connection, as I told you, every class in Pega is mapped to a table. So So when you hit on test connection, you get to know like what is the schema name and what is the table name. And by default, the usual table names are PC underscore your class name. Okay. So PC underscore my class name, go ahead and empty work. Okay. Now, I'll explain you one thing. So every class in Pega is mapped to a table. Why do we map this? Every concrete class has work objects. So where will I store this work object? I need a table. So I have table. What is the work object? The case created by the end users is called as a work object. Okay. So every property in a class is mapped to DB columns. What is property? Property means variables. What are variables? Let's say in your application you have to collect the user's first name, last name, phone number. So you have to create some variables, right? String first name, string last name, int phone number. So these are called as properties in Pega. Okay. So every property in Pega is mapped to a DB column. So whenever you enter a value for that property, it will automatically get saved to the DB column. Okay. Suppose you enter first name as Nikhila, it will save into the DB column first name as Nikhila. You enter your phone number, it gets saved into your DB column. Okay. So every class in Pega is mapped to a table and every property is mapped to a DB column. Now, one second. Okay. So we say that two types of tables in Pega. One are called as RDB tables. The other one is block tables. Okay. The other one is block tables. So what are RDB tables? RDB tables are the tables like which are built in a database. You go to your Oracle, you go to your SQL developer, and you just say like create table name. Okay. That are RDB tables which is nothing but they have exposed DB columns. Block tables are the tables which you build from Pega Designer Studio. Okay. So we build tables from here. So when you build tables from here, they are also RDB tables. But the only thing is that they do not store your data in exposed columns. They have columns with data type as blob. What happens in this case? Let's say I have three properties: name, phone number, email. So what do you expect? In the database, you expect three columns, right? Name, phone number, email, and my data gets stored. No. In case of block tables, it's different. In the database, we'll have one column called as TZPV stream. So this column's data type is blob, means it will store everything in binary format, zeros and ones. Okay. So now, what happens is like when I enter my name as Nikhila, it will get stored into PZPV stream in zeros and ones. When I enter phone number, it gets stored into same column PZPV stream in zeros and ones. Email, same again. Okay. So that is what is this block table. So in block tables, you do not have exposed columns for your properties. There is only one column called as PZPV stream whose data type is blob and all the information gets stored in blob. Just a second, that somebody has audio issues. I'm just trying to. We don't have any Pega database concept. Like database can be anything. See, whenever you install Pega, you can install any database. You can even use like big data databases also, I mean like Pig and Hive, or you can go with SQL Developer, PGSQL, Oracle, anything of your choice. Okay. So whatever it is, like whenever you install Pega Personal Edition or Enterprise Edition, you do get this block tables. Whenever you create a new application, by default Pega will create you block tables. Now we do use block tables. So like irrespective of the database you use, whenever you create a table from Pega, it creates block tables. Pega creates block tables. We don't manually go and say create table name, and we don't create block tables. When you run create a table from Pega, by default it creates block tables. And as for Pega's best practices, we prefer using more block tables than RDB tables, because block processing time is less when compared to RDB tables. And even the amount of memory they consume is less, because instead of maintaining like 30 or some size for each of the variables, like name you allocate 30, okay, phone number you allocate 30, I mean like varchar size I'm saying. So instead of that, you have one single column PV stream, and you compress the data, you convert it into blob, and you store it. So memory wise, it's like very good because I compress when I store, and processing time is also very less when I go with blobs. So we prefer more blob tables as much as possible than RDB tables. Okay, and irrespective of your database, whenever you create a table from Pega Designer Studio, automatically it will create blob in your corresponding database. Pega and the database will have the connection mapping. Okay, so automatically it creates a blob table. Okay, so we interact with two types of tables, RDB and blob tables. The blob tables are the tables that are created from Pega Designer Studio, and they only have one column called as one analysis of many columns, but they don't have columns of your properties. I mean, okay. They have PV stream column, which is of data type block, and all the information of your work object gets stored into PV stream. We don't have any exposed columns. Okay, and also you cannot use queries like select star, insert, update on the block tables, because the columns are not exposed. How can you say select name, phone number from so and so table? Because there is no column called as name and phone number. There is only PV stream. So we have Pega's inbuilt methods to pull the block data. So that is the relation between class and tables and the types of tables they have in Pega. Take a minute, try to understand it, and please get me back with the questions. Yeah, you can change the parent class at any point of time, but you have to make sure like the existing application is not breaking. See, initially I was inheriting from A-B. Now I want to change it to A-B-C. Then it is fine. But if you change it to E-F, then it is a problem, because maybe existing code is using some part of A-B. As you completely change it to E-F, then it's a problem. Okay? But changing is possible any point of time, but you have to be careful. Okay, Channa, you want to unmute? Give me a second. Let me unmute you. Okay, you are unmuted. You can speak, please. Just side of your name, there's a mic icon. You can unmute yourself at any point of time. Yeah, please tell me.
Oh, no, can you explain it like any small, like any like kind of example with the class inheritance? Now, you explain like what is the class and what is the inheritance, okay? And like how we use in applications like from the if you take something sample application, where do you use and how do we use it?
Inheritance, right? Okay. So you can see this existing application. Okay. So let me close everything. So this is like a Go IBIBO kind of application. Okay. My application name is MMT. My company or the organization name is GoOR, and my class name is eTicket. Okay. So if you see my classes, I'll start with my framework class. So this is a framework class. How do I say it's a framework? Because I see the word FW, framework. Okay. So GoOR means my organization name. Hyphen FW, it's a keyword of Pega to indicate it's a framework. Hyphen my application name MMT FW hyphen work. Okay. So work is a class of Pega. We are building applications on Pega, right? So we have to inherit from Pega's work class. Okay. So this is my framework class. My framework has a child class called as eTicket. Okay. If you see the name, it's GoOR hyphen FW hyphen MMT FW hyphen work hyphen eTicket. So this is your pattern inheritance. Means if you see it as work, it is my parent class. Okay? eTicket is the current class. So this is pattern inheritance. It's a concrete class. Means I can have work objects for it. It belongs to a class group. To which class group? To work. Means this is acting as a class group and I'm belonging to this class group. Means I'm a child and I'm sharing the table of my parent. Okay. Then directed inheritance. I'm inheriting from Pega's work dash cover dash. Okay. Now let me see the same way for implementation class, like how framework and implementation, all those things are there. Same class name without FW is the implementation. See, GoOR hyphen MMT hyphen work. If FW is there, it's framework. If it is not there, it's implementation. Now again, see this. This is we'll take this one, child class. Okay. Both the childs, framework child, implementation child. Same, GoOR hyphen MMT hyphen work is my parent. eTicket is my child. Okay. And if you see here, this is also belonging to a class group. I share my parent table. And my class inheritance. Now I am inheriting from framework. Okay. If you remember, usually it is like this. First you have organization layer, then you have division layer, then you have framework layer, then you have implementation, right? So if you see this is my implementation. One second there. Okay. So it is a GoOR hyphen MMT hyphen work dash eTicket implementation. So what is my framework? Here it is. So I am inheriting from the framework layer. So that is how we establish relation between the child and the parent, or the framework and the implementation. As I told you, framework is completely a different application. Where somebody has built it and you are trying to use it. So how do you establish it? You make framework as a directed parent. So this is inheriting from framework. Okay. So if you see, if I am searching for a rule in eTicket, it is not found here. It is search in work, then MMT, then GoOR. I didn't find it. So my pattern parent is done. Then I'll search in my directed parent. eTicket, work, MMT, FW, work. Not found here. Then you will see who is the parent of this. The parent of this is work dash cover dash. You will search here. The parent of that, the parent of that. So that's how it goes. Okay? And this is how the relation between framework and implementation is there. This becomes my directed parent to this. Is it clear, Channa?
And the name will be the same for this framework, whatever, for all for all the divisions we made, right? Like means for any like module, the class name will be the same thing.
Okay, one second. No, 1 second.
Here you have given e-ticket and we are doing some other function. The framework and whatever, it will be the same thing.
Okay, you mean the name said go-on-mmt- this name? Yes.
Right.
Very good
Yeah.
question. Guys, the names will not be same if the framework is taken from somebody else. Let's say I purchase a framework from Pega Systems. Then I will not have this name, right? Because this is a framework built by me. I have the name. So if I have taken it from Pega Systems, maybe they will have it like this. Maybe something SW, maybe like something that's related to bank, let's say, okay? Bank SW hyphen work dash something else, some YXYZ something it will be there. Okay? The name will not be the same if my framework was not built by me. But still, because it's my directed parent, I can inherit from it. Still confused? No, go ahead. Ask your questions, like that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
If you're still confused, maybe it's not clear, just go ahead. Okay, and that's fine then. There's any point of time, not just today. Maybe if you're not feeling comfortable to ask now, please go ahead, refer to multiple documents, come back and say like, I'm not clear at this point, I'll explain you, okay? Because it's still day 1 or day 2, and you're still at a very high level explanation. You will have questions, I know that, okay? Don't, like, be vocal, I mean, like, just go ahead and ask whatever you want to ask. Okay? So this is about your classes and their inheritances. Okay. Now, second guys, you ask me any question? There's a lot of chat in between, I can't see. Okay, there's some questions. Okay, Sidhu, like, how can I insert, update or delete a block table? We have Pega's inbuilt methods to do insert, update and deletions of block tables. So your SQL queries of insert, update will not work. Delete will work, of course, but to do this insert and update, we use Pega's inbuilt methods. Then, Giri, can you give us another example on block tables versus RDB tables? Okay. So let's say, for example, this is a GoIBO application, right? Like whenever a person books a ticket from my application, I need to maintain the information, right? Because tomorrow they say like I need a refund or something, you need to maintain the information of the ticket booking. So for which we use block tables. Why do I use block tables? Because the person can book either a flight or a bus or a train ticket from my website. And I only have one class, e-ticket. So the ticket can be anything, can be bus, can be flight, can be something else. Okay? So in this case, we go with block tables. Okay, I'll have one block table called as e-ticket, and there I'll store all the tickets information irrespective of the type of ticket. That's a block table. Now let's say, like in the screen you display the source and destination, right? Like from which place to which place. That is something like you need to maintain in a RDB table. Why RDB table? The source and destinations keep changing very frequently, right? Like today I have buses from this place to that place. After a week I'll change, or maybe I'll add some new buses, or maybe it's festive time. I put more number of buses to a particular location. So they keep changing very frequently. So those things, we maintain in RDB tables. Like we'll have an RDB table where we'll maintain these things. Okay. So you will have an RDB table where you maintain source, destination, the bus number, the fare amount, and all that stuff. That's like RDB. Why do we maintain this? See, if I maintain a block table, whenever the client asks me, hey, we have new buses coming in, can you please add it? Then I first have to add it in div, test in div, push it to create, test, UAT. By the time the test time will be over also. So if you put it in an RDB table, you will have some business users who can simply add some records into the RDB table or delete some records from the RDB table. So it's easy to maintain. Okay? We give them access to the tables. We tell them, hey guys, you add new records if you want or you delete as per your requirement. Because every time we can't push it from dev to prod. So that's how we do it. RDB tables. Okay? Just give me a second, guys. Okay. So that's how we maintain the RDB tables. Okay. Like for those things. Or maybe something like, maybe if you have some coupon codes. Okay, you want, not coupon code, not a good example. What else? I mean, just I'm taking from the Goa point of view. Or maybe the types of banks you support. Something like that, like anything which you keep changing very frequently, you put them in the RDB table. Okay. Okay, so he's asking where does the customer data of bank application may go? Customer data means it's again in customer information. When like the new, if a person is opening a new application, then it's a block table. But if you're storing his information like his account number, his first name, last name, email, then all those will be in a RDB table. They'll not be in block. See, only work objects which we create, we usually put in block. And some tables like let's say for example you want to maintain some small amounts of data which doesn't change frequently, we put them in block tables. But customer information, all those things we put in RDB tables. See, when a customer is opening an application, like opening a new account in their bank using the application, then that will be in a block table. But still the customer information like his first name, last name, and his account details, the current balance amount and all those things will maintain in RDB table. That's how it is. Okay. Okay. So this is about class and inheritance in Pega. Okay. Let me know if you have any queries, else we'll go on to the next topic. Just a second. Yeah, yes, we can have duplicate data. So it's your choice. Like maybe you can, like if you don't have the things as primary keys, duplicates are allowed. Even in block tables, we do mention the keys. If I mention like an employee ID or something as a key, although it's in block, still Pega takes care. Like they will not allow you to put duplicates. Okay. Okay. Let's move ahead. Let's talk about rule sets, versions, and how do we work in Pega on day-to-day basis. Coming to rule sets. Just a second, guys. Somebody has audio issues, so I'm just going on chatting with him in between. Okay. So coming to rule sets and rule set versions, let me explain you the high level, what is a rule set, then we'll just deep dive into it. So rule set. Rule set is nothing but just a collection of rules. It's very similar to your class, right? Class is a collection of rules. Similarly, rule set. It's also a collection of rules. Okay. So, rule set is a collection of rules. As I told you, what are rules? Rules are nothing but your flows, UI, your validations, your decisions. All these things are called as rules in Pega. Anything which is executable. Okay. So the business process related stuff, we call them as rules in Pega. I'll tell you like why did the name rule inherit from and all those things. I'll tell you. There's even a technical reason behind it. So, rule set is nothing but just a collection of rules. Why do you need the concept of rule set? Simple reason. Like I have a class, it's a collection of rules. Why do you still need a rule set? Yes, you need it. The reason is, let's say for example, as a part of the May release, you have built some like 5 classes, 10 validations, 15 decisions, 3 flows, and blah 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 you have built. Okay. Now I have to do my deployment to QA. Like, will you be able to remember what all you built, everything? No, of course no. Okay. So then, like I'll say like, okay, I'll write it down in some Excel sheet and I'll import everything. But still there is a chance, as you're not the only developer in your project, it's not necessary that everybody will maintain each and every rule that is building. So we might miss a couple of rules and we might miss the deployment. I mean, like during deployment you might miss, right? So, okay, you will say like, as class is a collection of rules, as if I move the class, all the rules will come. Yes, agreed. But there are many rules which do not have classes. Let's say operator ID. Let's say I created a new operator ID, or maybe I created a new access group or access role or something else. These things doesn't have classes because they are DB records. They don't have classes. So you'll miss them. Similarly, there are many rules in Pega which are not associated with classes. So you're going to miss them. Okay. So that is the reason we have a concept called as rule set. A rule set is nothing but just a package or a collection of rules. Okay. So in a rule set, you will put all the rules that are together you're building, and when you make a deployment, you simply push the rule set from dev to QA, QA to UAT, and so on. So whenever my development starts, the first thing that I create is a rule set. Okay. And then I start creating my rules. So whenever I create a flow, Pega will ask me which rule set you want to create it. So I'll give my rule set name. Then I create a variable or a property. Pega asks me which rule set. Then I give it. So during creation itself, you create it in a particular folder called as rule set. So whenever you move the code, you move that folder for nothing but the rule set. Okay? That's the purpose of rule set, to package all the rules and to make sure your deployment goes properly. That's the main reason behind rule set. One thing. The other thing is like, you keep on building applications, you have multiple enhancements, you have multiple frameworks, you have many built-on applications. So you want to maintain the proper stack. Like who is the parent, who is the child, who is the grandchild, you want to maintain that stack. Even for maintaining the stack, rule sets are important. So in the application, we have a rule called as application in Pega. Application is a rule in Pega. In application rules, we specify all the rule sets hierarchy. means this is the parent rule set, this is the child rule set, this is the grandchild, and so on. Because I will be interacting with multiple applications. So some are my builder applications, some are my child applications, and so on, right? So if you don't specify the rule set, how will Pega know like who is my parent, who is my child, from where I need to pick up? That is the reason rule sets are very important to maintain the stack of the application also. Okay. So rule set is a rule in Pega. It is coming from Pega's rule-set hyphen name class. Okay. And every rule set in Pega will have a version. Just a second, guys. Somebody has an audio issue, I don't know. Okay. So every tool set in Pega will have some version. Okay. So what is the importance of this version? I'll tell you. Okay. So every tool set in Pega has a version. What is the importance of this? Yeah, as I told you, like tomorrow we have a release, like or whatever it is, like next month you have a release. You have built some like 25 rules or something. Very good. Now it went to QA, you got some defects. Okay. So are you going to again make the code changes and push it? Yes, you're going to make it. So when you make it, we don't make it in the same package. The reason is, let's say for example, you make some code changes and you push it. Okay. Maybe your new code changes have broken the existing functionality. Now you want to roll back your changes. The thing that you made code changes in around like 10 rules. As you want to roll back, do you think you will remember like each and every step that you changed? No, we don't remember, right? There's a chance like here and there you miss it. So then what happens? Although you try to roll back, still you'll have some challenges. I mean, like you will break the existing code. So in order to avoid that, what we do is like whenever you push a new change, we try to maintain a new version. Means today, if I push my code to QA, it is in 0.1 version. Tomorrow I got defects, I'll fix my defects in 0.2 version. Then I have some advancement, I'll do it in 0.3 version. Then another defect, 0.4 version. We maintain a different version for each and every new changes. Why do we maintain that? So, because tomorrow, like when I fix the first defect, I kept it in 0.2, right? Now they said, no, your new changes have broken the complete functionality, please roll back your changes. Then I can simply delete my 0.2 version, and all my new changes are gone. Okay? So then you send 0.3. Again, something went wrong. The complete application got stopped in production because of your new changes. So basically, please roll back your changes. Immediately, the production went down because of the changes. So what do? You simply delete 0.3 version. That is the advantage if you put it in like different versions. If everything was in 0.1, it would have been very difficult for you to identify what are the new changes and to roll back them. Right? So that is the reason we have versions in Pega. So we have versions as like this. NN hyphen NN hyphen NN. I mean number hyphen number hyphen number. So 010101, 010102, 010103. That is how we maintain the version. Okay. So we call the first one as major, second one as minor, and third one as patch. Usually theoretically, it's like patches will be incremented only when you have some bug fixes. Minors will be incremented when there is a functionality change. Majors will be incremented when there is a major application changes. But in real time, most of the times that we increment only patches. Okay. Until unless we do skimming, we'll come to skimming later. Okay. So most of the times we increase patches only. So it is 010101 to 010199 you will do. After 99, 010201. Again 0299. Then 03. Then 04. So we keep on increasing the patches like that. Okay. Ravi, you are able to connect the audio now. I can hear you now.
Yeah, it's done.
I guess you missed something earlier. Okay, I just muted you because there was some noise from your side. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is how we do it. Rule set hyphen version. Okay, so you have major, minor, and patch versions, and you keep on incrementing them. Okay, so if you see this in the screenshot, you can see 010101 is having 193 rules. 02 is having 0 rules. So like that, you can put your rules in each of the rule set versions. And whenever you make a deployment, you push this version. So when I push this employee rule set with 0101 version, 193 rules will move to the next environment. So that is how it is done. Pega's default rule set. As I told you, application rule in Pega is a collection of rule sets. So I feel like I'm using this application. What is an application? It's a collection of rules, right? And rule set is a collection of rule sets. So if you open the application rule in Pega, what you want to see? Yes, you do. Yes.
Yeah, Nikhila,
Yeah.
I had a question. In the rule set, when we are creating a major change, right? So if the major change goes over 99, then?
You'll initiate the, okay, I don't think that we go to 99 of major.
Yeah.
As I told you, this,
Just out of curiosity.
no, we didn't, I mean, like, there was never a chance that we reached till 99.
Okay. Yeah,
So
got it.
minus 1 to
Thanks.
complete 99, then you reach major 99. This number that.
Okay. Yeah.
And the other thing is like, if you have such scenario, we do something called a skimming, and we push all the code to one single version. I mean, like, let me tell you. Okay, just say like your code is there in 010102, then it is there in 02 hyphen 30. I think that there are many versions in your application. You are like completely overloaded with too many rules. So each and every rule is there in like 20 plus versions. Why 20 plus versions? Because initial creation is in 0101. Then you modify it 20 times. So it is like in 20 plus versions. Then what happens is that at runtime, Pega starts taking more amount of time because same rule is there in 20 versions. Since Pega has to identify which is the latest version. So what happens? Pega starts taking time for executing the application. Then we do something called skimming. Skimming means moving all the rules to one common version. So initially maybe like one of your rule is in 01, 02, 03. Other rules are in 03, 05, 07 something. Then something else in some. So we want to bring all the rules onto one common version, that is called as skimming. So in skimming what we will do? We will take some highest version. It can be a major version or a minor version. And you will take all your rules and you will take the highest of each and every rule and you will put them in one common version, maybe like this 02 hyphen 01 hyphen 01. Now what happens? Pega will take very less processing time because all the rules are in only one common highest version. So that is what we do. Like in your question, like if we come from 99, then we will do skimming, put it in some highest version, and we'll move it to a new stack completely because we are like shortage of versions. Usually that will not.
Yeah, got it. And it also improves performance, right? Because if you're having multiple versions, so it's obviously like performance is
We
affected.
do keep skimming when applications have too many rules at versions. We have to skim. Otherwise, like every rule will have at least 20-25 versions, and it becomes very difficult for Pega to identify the latest changes.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So this is how you have your application rule in Pega. So application rule in Pega is a collection of all the rule sets. Okay. So all the rule sets together form an application. So let me show you my application rule set. So this is my application. I say open application. Okay. So these are my rule sets. I have a rule set called as MMT, then MMT int, then go OR int, and service as service. So these all rule sets form an application called as make my trip. Okay. Now if you created a new rule set, you need to add it here. If you are deleting a new rule set, you have to delete here. Means you cannot further access any of the rules in the rule set. Okay. So just application is nothing but a collection of rule sets, and the rule set is nothing but a collection of rules in Pega. Okay. And the way in which you put this rule set has some meaning. So MMT is the child, MMT int is the parent of it, God is the parent of MMT int, and so on. So this is the topmost parent and this is the lowest child. The hierarchy is important. So MMT can use the rules in any of these, but service cannot use rules in any of this because it's the parent and this is the child. Okay? So whenever you create a new rule set, this hierarchy is very important for us. So that is about application, rule set and version. Let me show you my rule set and my version. So I'm just opening my rule set. Look at the top. It says it's a rule set. Okay, the name of the rule set is MMT. Okay, I'll tell you what is this. Then you can see in 010101 version I have 115 rules. Okay, and if I want to create a new version now, I can just click on the plus icon, give the new version name and description. I mean like for which defect, for which release, for which requirement this rule set is being used, and you say create. So you have the new one. So whenever you create a new rule, you can either put it in 02 or 01. It's your choice. So in real time, you have many people working on the same project. Some works on some defects, some works on requirements, some works on enhancements. So you'll have many versions open in parallel. So I'll be using 01, you guys will be using 02, somebody else will be using 03. Okay? So that's how we work. But you always have to make sure that the order in which you are creating your versions is the order in which you deploy. Because we expect 01 to go live first, 02 to go next, and 03 to go next. Okay? And what happens if 03 goes first? If the same rule is there in 03 and 01, my changes will not work because I was adding a drop down in 01 in a particular screen. So same screen in 03, other team has put it as a text box. And they went to go live first. They deployed it into production first. Later, after a month, they deployed. What is the use of it? Because Pega always picks the latest version. 03 is the latest version. Although I deployed late, 03 is the latest version. So my changes will not work. So this will happen with any of your code, any of your logic, and any of your flows. So you should always make sure that the order in which your versions are created and the order in which you are deploying is the one, it's like as per the expected changes. Okay? Because parallel teams will be working, you should be very much careful that you are taking the right version and all those things. Okay? So like once you're done with your development, we usually lock the rule sets. Locking means you cannot create any more rules in this version. See, I deployed my code to QA. So I'm done with my development, right? So I have to lock it. So when I lock it, you can give any password. It's a choice. If I lock it, you cannot create any more rules in this rule set. If you want to make any bug fixes, you have to create a new version for it. You can't use this for development. So every time we complete the code and we deploy, we start locking the rule set. Okay. So that's how we work. And here there's something called as application validation and rule set validation, right? So application validation means rule sets also have this inheritance concept. So let's say you have a UI in this rule set 010101. Okay, it is calling some function which is there in some other rule set. Okay, so Pega will check the inheritance. Can MMT rule set section or UI use a function which is there in MMT int? Yes, because I am a child and it's a parent. Yes, then okay. If not, Pega will throw an error. Like this rule is not accessible for you because it is not in your hierarchy. It will throw an error like that. Okay. So that is application validation. Means Pega will go and check in the application rule what is the hierarchy of the rule, and it will tell you like what can be used and what cannot be used by your rule set. So this is the latest change that came up in Pega 7. Earlier we used to have only rule set validation. Rule set validation means in each and every rule set you have to specify like this. Who are your parent rule sets? Like this we used to specify. Suppose MMT want to use MMT FW, MMT int and something else, I have to add here every time. It's very difficult, right? Like each and every version you have to decide like who is the parent for this version. And you have to make sure like you don't end up doing a cyclic things. It was like hard to maintain for us, but we still used to do it. Now it's quite easy. You use application validation, Pega takes care of everything. You need not specify in each and every version, hey, this is my parent and this and all. So that is the difference. So this is about rule sets and versions. Okay. Have a look at it. Let me know if you have any queries. Okay. Somebody has a question about application validation and someone has about parallel development, lock and deployment. Let's go ahead. Okay. So coming to the application validation. So based on the hierarchy in which you place the rule sets, okay, the validation takes means, let's say for example, I have a function in MMT. Okay. That function is trying to use some variables which are there in MMT in rule set. So Pega will check, like, can the function in MMT rule set use MMT in rule set properties? Because it is my parent, I can use it, yes, then it is good. But let's say vice versa. You have a function in MMT and it is trying to use a property which is in MMT. Then whenever you try to save the rule, Pega will throw an error saying that this cannot be done because MMT is not in your hierarchy. So this is the child, this is the parent, and this is the grandparent, and so on. Okay. So whenever you create rules in MMT rule set and you try to save them, Pega will check this hierarchy. Am I using rules or properties of any other rule sets? If yes, are they in my parent structure? Yes. Okay. If no, it will throw another. That is how application validation works. It will go to the application rule and it will check the hierarchy of the rule sets and it will make sure that you are following this hierarchy. Whereas in rule set validation, you have to manually go and specify in each and every version that this is my parent. Like that you have to specify. Now, after Pega 7 is in picture, we are not using rule set validation, we are using only application validation because this is easy to maintain. Right? So that is application validation. Dipti, is it clear? Let me know if it's not clear. I'll explain. Okay. Then coming to parallel development and locking, okay, and deployment. Okay. So let's say we have 3 teams. Okay. So team 1 is working on 010101. Team 2 is working on 010102. And team 3 works on 0103. Okay. So when there is a parallel development going on, let's say that you have a function. No, Ravi, I can't hear your voice. Maybe you're on mute. Okay. So function. Okay, let me unmute you then. Yeah, you're unmuted. Yes, please.
Yeah.
You want to say something? Okay.
Yeah, we are doing the locking the rule set, right? So, assume while doing the rule set locking, we are providing the password in real time. So, assume I forget at the moment, but I want to unlock the previous version only. I want to do some modification. Assume I want to unlock the rule set, but I forget the password. So, in that scenario, what I need to do?
Very good question. It happens in real time most of the times. We forget the password. So what we do is, you have to write a function yourself. And see, rule sets are also nothing but rules, right? They get stored in the database. So what we do is like, we write a function to open the rule set instance from the database and we nullify the password. So it's like manually you nullify the password in the database and you unlock it. That's how we do it because it happens many times we forget the password. So rule sets also get stored in some XYZ tables in the database and it's a block table. So you can't go there and say update password to null or something, you can't do that. So we write a function in Pega to nullify the password and that's how we do it. Okay.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Okay. So coming back to Gilly's question, like you said, like we have multiple parallel developments and deployments. Okay. I have a function called as get employee details. Okay. This will get me employee name and employee ID. Okay. Now the same function is being even updated by this 03 version people. Now they're saying not only name and employee ID, we'll get them email ID, okay, and some phone number and something else also. Okay. These are all are work in progress, and these people are doing something like they are doing something else. Okay. Now what happens? Unfortunately, like 03 completed the work first, and they wanted to deploy to production. Okay, they deployed. Okay. Or let's say vice versa. This is not a problem. This is good. Like it's an enhancement. This is good. Let's take it vice versa. Okay. So 03 people started working first. Okay. They have a requirement saying that please write down a function. Please have a function called as get employee details, and we should pull employee ID and employee name. They started first. This is they began in Jan. Then these people started in March. They got a requirement saying that you have to build a function with which pulls all these parameters. So let's say these people went. We'll go live first. This is not a class, yeah, this is a good example. Let's take some, okay, yeah. These people went live first because it was a small requirement, these people went live first, okay? And then these people went. Now what happens, you're overriding this code. Actually, their requirement was to pull 4 variables. Now when you push this code, what happens? It will pull only 2 variables, so this requirement will break. Okay. Similarly, you can take any example. Let's say, for example, I was using a soap service, okay, and I was pulling some variables. I was pushing some n number of parameters, and I was getting n number of outputs. Now, in parallel, some other team was also consuming, modifying the same soap service, but instead of passing n number of parameters, they're passing some x number of parameters, and they're pushing it. Now, what happens? If their code goes first before me, it is going to break, right? Actually, my requirement was n, theirs was x. It's going to break. So, in parallel development, will come across many situations like this. So, that is the reason, whenever we have a requirement and we are doing a save as of a rule, you should check, is this rule in production? Like, let's say I'm doing a save as from 02. I'll go and check in production what is the highest version of this rule in production. If it is 01, I'll check what is the highest version in dev. If it is not 01 and if it is 02, I will go and talk to 02 team. Hey guys, when is your code going to production first? Then you guys have to decide and you have to work together. Okay? So you should always take the production versions as your core, not your dev versions. Okay? But in order to avoid these things, they have a new concept, not a new concept, we have a concept called as branch development. It's always good to go for branches. So in branch development, what happens is like, we don't create a version for a rule set. Let's say your rule set is MMT, right? We'll have a branch in MMT. Like consider MMT as a tree. Okay? So branch means we'll have a branch for this tree and the development will be going in the branches. Let's say I have a branch called as branch 1 and other team has a branch called as branch 2. So you will do your development here, they will do the development here. None of you will have versions. Like you don't have 01, 02, 03 version. Whoever completes first, whose code is supposed to go first, we will merge these branches back to the rule set. So when you merge it, then you will decide it is 01 or 02 or 03. Let's say I am going first, I'll put it 01. Then my second person completes, they'll put 02. So then in this case, there's no clash, right? In earlier case, what happens? The person who is supposed to go first will be still development in progress. The person who is supposed to go next will go first. So there's the code is getting ruined, right? The lower version goes first and the higher version goes late, something like that. Okay? But in this case, what happens? None of us will have versions. We'll have to work in branches. Once your development is completed, then you will take the highest available version and you'll push your code. So most of the times in real time, we prefer to work with branches whenever there's a parallel development to avoid this kind of stuff. Like lower versions going next and higher versions going first. As I was telling you, like 01, 01, 03 will go first then 01, 01, 01 will go. It's a problem, right? Actually, 3 should go next and 1 should go first. Okay? So to avoid that, we work with branches. So once your development is completed, we choose the next highest version and we map it. Okay? Okay. That's how we work with branches in this thing. Okay? And to create a branch, it's quite simple. You can just go to your application rule and you say add branch. Branches will be created. We'll see all these things when we make development. Okay, how can we go to know if there are parallel developments going on in the project list? If there are many unlocked versions in your Ruleset, it means the parallel development is going on. Okay? Because if the development is done, we will lock the Ruleset versions. So if you see many unlocked versions, it means that somebody else is also working in parallel with you. Okay. Take a minute. Try to have a recap and please let me know if you have any queries. Yes, Sindhu, please.
Nikhila. Yes. Actually, I just wanted to ask you, okay, as a developer, there will be developers, right? So in UAT and testing, will there be any testers like QA testers? So, or the developers have to perform the testing, the unit testing as well?
Testers. You have QA people, you have UAT people, you have everyone.
Okay. So, yeah. And along with that, there will be dev environment, UAT environment, and prod environment separately?
In other projects, we do have various environments. Dev, QA, UAT, prod, everything is different.
Okay. And along with that, if, do we have team foundation server or what is it called?
Yes. Yes, same thing. We do have SharePoint, we have rallies, we have all that. Like just like in any other project, how do you do? We do the same way. We also use that visual tools for building the flow diagram. Yes. Same structure. Yes.
And visual tools, like the code or the and these all will be in one tool, Pega tool, right? We don't have any different tools. All these will be in just one tool.
All these things actually we have an inbuilt Microsoft tool called as Designer Studio where we build the full flow diagram. So we are not using Visio anymore. Like Visio was used in Pega 5.x version. And for requirements and specifications, yeah, we do have some place in Pega to gather that. But still, till today I didn't find many people using Pega as a tool for gathering requirements. We use the common rallies and all that stuff to follow this agile and everything. Most of the documents and everything. We do have it, but not an efficient thing.
So, yeah, it's still a combination kind of thing. But most of the time, like for production and development, they're only using...
we use Pega.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Ravi, you had a question? Please go ahead.
Yes. Nikhila, we are going with a parallel development, then we are using the branch concept. That is absolutely right. My question is, we are working on one branch A, I am working on branch B. So, again, so finally we need to merge into one branch, right? That is how it will work in developer? I mean, like in example.
I didn't get your question.
No, but
not in one branch.
Actually, I will merge into code actually. So finally,
not into the branch. So let's say, for example, today in production we have 01-01-10. Let's say in production 10 versions are there. Okay. Now you and me are working in parallel. We don't know whose code will go first. So because we don't have any deadlines yet. So what we'll do, we both will create branches, we'll work on it. Let's say you completed the code first. Then you will place your code into 11 version and you will push it to production. Later when my code is completed, based on the next highest version available. Maybe by the time I completed my course, you even get 12 version, you did 13 version, you did 14 also. Then I will use 15 and then push my code. So when I merge my code, I'll see the highest available version and I'll push my code. Any, like, are you confused anywhere? Anything? Yeah, you can do it on personal election, Giri. Ravi, are you confused? Do you have any queries?
Okay, Nikhila, I will come to you. No problem.
Thing is like, see, let's say for example, you create a branch like this, okay? Let's say, like, I'm creating a branch called, like, I'll just name it as test branch, okay? I created a branch, okay? Let's say I want to create a rule in Pega, in branch. Okay? So, okay, didn't I save it? I didn't save it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see here, this branch is visible. So when the branch is visible, it will not ask you any version. Usually it will ask you version. So if I say no branch, means I don't want to use branches, it will ask me version, then which version you want to place. So when I say, no, I'm creating in a branch, it will not ask me a version because when I'm creating in branches, I will not have versions. You're just building a branch, later you will merge it into the actual rule set later, depending upon the highest version that is available at that time. So you will create like this.
So here my question is, yeah, now I understood. So you are working on one different branch, I am working on different branch. So finally, okay, assume in the production there is a O1, 10 version is available. Now we are going to do the
11
11, okay?
is available because maybe somebody else has already pushed 11. That's correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay.
Okay, that is assume. Okay, but for these two branches will come to in one rule set at production higher or one by one?
Yeah, I can have many.
So that is okay. I have one more question then. It will come by one. Assume there is a A and B branches, right? Assume B branch is completed first. Okay, they are moved into production also. So they are keeping in one version, particular version at higher, right? Now A branch will come. They are pushing the code into production. They are creating the new version on top of the production. But my question is, there is a data config is they are going to modify. Assume they are going to change in branch B. The branch B they are not going to change, but branch A they are going to change. But they are put into the previous version, right? The changes will not affect to rule resolution. It will not affect, right?
Same rule is updated. You mean like, let's say for example, you are saying that first some XYZ rule moved into production from branch A. Then same rule was updated in branch B and they moved to production, right? Is that your question? Then branch A changes will not work.
That is,
branch B changes will work. I mean, the same rule is modified by them.
So then that is the scenario how, so not only one, right? So many people will come up with so many updates, right? So then how branch will we can take the decision to which one we need to go more first?
Like whenever you both are moving if you both are updating the same rule, you will see a lock over it. Like see, if you are working on it, I can't work on the same rule at the same time. So you'll get to know that somebody is working on it because you can't edit the rule until unless the other person releases the lock on it. So that way you'll get to know like both are working on the same rule, so you will take care of development itself.
Okay, I think we need to communicate over it.
Let's say, for example, this checkout and checkout in Pega. So checkout means I am trying to modify the rule, so I'll have checkout on it. Now some other operator tries to modify the same rule, it will tell him like this is locked by so and so person. So until and unless I do a check-in, means I commit my changes, you can't modify it. So at least that way you'll get to know like, okay, this is being even used by some other team. Okay.
Yeah,
that's how we get to know like somebody else is also working on it. See, we created a branch, right? You have a rule. Now you want to merge it, you just go to actions and say merge. So you can merge it back to your rule set once you're done with the development like this. Okay. So do you want to create a new version or you want to use the existing version? It will ask you. Okay. So I don't want to create a new version. Maybe I want to merge it as the existing version. Okay. Did I give a password? Did I lock it? Yes, I logged it. Okay. So what happened? Okay, I have something in my checkout still. Okay. You need to check in the code before you merge or before you lock. If there is something in your checkout, you can't do it. Checkout means somebody is modifying it. See, it's in my checkout. So I need to check in or discard my checkout. Just trying to refresh my screen. Okay. So now this new property called as test will come to my 0101 version. So I'm merging it back. That's all. That's it. Done. Completed merging. So you can merge your branches. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
While doing skimming, you're saying for assume I have 10 rule sets. So from in each rule set we have some rules. From that rules also it will take the higher rule version, right? Higher version. So then it will come into the what we put into the skimming rule set. It will copy, right? But my question is, in the previous rule set we have a block rules and withdrawn rules, right? So both that rules also copied into over here.
Will not be copied when you do skimming. Like they are completely considered as deleted rules and they will not be copied.
I mean, withdrawn also not copied.
Block will not be copied, but let me check over it. Even I doubt at this point. Let me check and get back to you.
Okay.
Like withdrawn and blocked, I'll get back to you later. This is about rule availability. Okay. Okay. So that is about rule sets, versions, branching, merging, okay, and parallel development. And the rule set validation, the new feature in Pega 7, and how does it validate? Okay. So any more questions, guys? Please.
Don't mind. The rule set validation, we have application validation and rule set validation. But actually, can you explain one more time?
So, rule set application validation means like this rule set what all rules it can use, it will check in the application rule. So the rules in this rule set can use the rules in any of these parent rule sets. So that validation it will do at like at compile time. Whereas rule set validation means it will not check this. It will not at all bother about this. It will only check like whatever you define as your parent in each and every version. So if you specify like these two are my parents, it will make sure like you are consuming rules only from these parent versions. Similarly, if you specify something else as the parent, it will check that. So that's how it will consider these things. It will not consider the application stack order.
Okay, if you want to consider application stack order, we need to select application in validation. So this is the advantage of application validation. If you are target the particular version for the rule set, it will take the highest version in application validation.
Every time you create a new version, you have to tell Pega like, hey, this should like you have So let's say for example, I created a new rule set now. Okay, new rule set on XYZ. So like if I add it in the stack, Pega will automatically take like, okay, there's a new rule set XYZ. It has become a parent of all these things. But if this is not there, what you have to do? You have to open each and every rule set and you have to add that new rule set here and make it as a parent. So that is difficult, right? You have to do for all the number of rules that are available. It's a lot of huge work. And similarly, see, you specify a rule set here, MMT-update 010101. What if I create 02? I want to pick 02 also. Again, you have to comment with 02. Or you have to put like this. Then like that, till 99 it will pick everything. So like this is all overhead like you need to do if you go for rule set validation. But if you go for application, Pega will take care of all that.
Okay, if you want to mention rule set validation, we need to give the
Who is
particular.
your parent and what version you consider them, you have to specify.
Okay, that is the case. In application validation, there is a rule set stack is available, right? So that stack we need to mention or by default
You
Pega
have
will
to
take care of the
specify.
stack.
Whenever you create a new rule set, you have to come and specify here.
But how come to know the hierarchy for me? Assume I have already fixed the rule set, but I am going to creating the new rule set first. But always it's not in individual rule set, right? But it's all sometimes it's depending on other rule sets also, right?
That's what a developer does. So technically you need to analyze who become your parent and who becomes your child from whom you are going to reuse the rules, and you have to place it at the right location. Most of the times it will be at the top only. You'll be building only children, you don't build parents. Yeah, there are situations where you build parents also, but that's how the developer's knowledge comes into the picture.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, somebody has a question about checkouts and check-ins. Okay. So guys, what is checkout and check-in? All the rules will lie in the server. Okay. And whenever I try to modify a rule, I have to get a lock over it. So I do checkout, I get a lock over the rule. So when I have the lock over rule, nobody else can edit it at the same time. So parallel editings are not possible. So checkout means you have the lock over the rule. Okay. And check-in means you are releasing the lock and you are committing your changes. Check-in means I am committing my new changes and my lock is released. So the next person can open the rule and modify it. That is checkout and check-in. Checkout getting the lock, check-in committing your changes and releasing your lock.
That is the case. Actually we have a private edit also, right?
The pictures and the rules are locked. See, checkout and check-ins you can do until and unless the rule set is unlocked. Let's say my development is completed, you lock the rule set, you push it to QA. Now checkouts and check-ins will not come because it's a locked rule set. Only until and unless it is unlocked, you get checkouts and check-ins. So private edit means after it's locked, you get a private edit button. Just only for temporary testing. You can't check in that code.
But Nikhila, actually, I think we are working your one rule, but the same rule I am also trying to working on that. By the time also,
you get it private edit. The thing is that you can't check in it until and unless I check in. And the first user has to check in first.
Yeah, that is the actually default thing, but if you really you are not doing any checking, but they are given the check-in option also, right?
What will happen like you will have a clash, like either my changes will get lost in. So whoever checking first, their changes will be taken, so my changes will be lost.
So finally we are not going to use private edit
most of the times we don't use private edit because like the other user changes will be lost. See guys, what we are talking is, let's say for example, let's unlock and show you so that others will not get confused. What is this? Showing errors. Okay, I unlocked my rule set. Let me take any one of the rules. Okay, let me take activity. I just want to show you like what is checkout, check-in and private edit. Okay, suppose I want to modify this rule. I don't have checkouts and check-ins for this. Just a second guys. Actually I disabled checkouts and check-ins. Okay, see I want to edit this rule. I click on checkout. Okay, now some other user also want to edit the rule. So he will see like this. So the other user will see like this. He will see a lock. Then he will say, what is this? Then there will be a message. See, the record was checked out by so-and-so person. So it will come as Nikhila at something.com. So the other person can't edit it. Okay. So this is checkout. Now I'm done with my changes. If I check in, the lock will be released. Okay. So when I check in, I have to give the like what changes I did. Some XXX you write down and you say, okay, means I made those changes. That's it. Now, let's say the rule set is locked. Okay. Now, you don't have checkout option because the rule set is locked. No further developments are allowed. Okay. You will get private edit. So you can do a private edit. Okay. And you can make your changes. But when you do a check-in, you can't check in into 01. You have to check in into the next highest version because 01 is already logged. That is private edit. Okay. Private edit means you're just trying to edit a rule which is logged by a rule set or by other person, but you can't check in it into the same rule set. You have to check in it into the next highest version available. So you don't see 01 here. You only see 02. I can discard my changes. If I just for temporary purpose maybe I checked out, I can discard. Okay. So that's how checkout, check-ins and private edits work. Okay. Ravi, I muted you because there was some disturbance. I just muted you. If you want to speak, just unmute yourself. Okay. So that's it, guys. Do you have any further queries? Okay. One more question. Is the rules and business rules same in Pega? Yeah, like business rules are the rules we call in Pega. One major thing I need to tell you is let me explain you anyways. Actually, base class is the parent of all the classes in Pega. Okay? So below which Pega has its own classes called as verb dash, cover dash, int dash, rule dash, and many Pega classes are there. Okay? So when you're building an application in Pega, you have to inherit from each of these classes to build your application. Okay? So if you want to build your business rules like flows and all that, you have to inherit from Pega's work class. If you want to build data tables, you have to inherit from Pega's data class. If you want to build integration like SOAP, REST, JMS, MQs, etc., you have to inherit from int class. And rule dash means your rules inherit from Pega's rule dash class. Means you're building a flow. Flow is a rule in Pega. Actually, flow is a rule in Pega which is inheriting from rule dash class of Pega. So in Pega, technically, if anything is inheriting from rule dash class of Pega, we call them as rules in Pega. Okay? So the word rules, technical meaning is it is inheriting from rule dash class of Pega. Okay? But at a normal level, if you think, a rule is nothing but anything which is executable. Functions, methods, flows, if-else logics, class, rule set, all these are called as rules in Pega. Okay, so that is the reason you see this keyword here. Work means you are inheriting from Pega's work dash class. Similarly, you see data. Inheriting from Pega's data class means it's a data table related stuff. Similarly, you will see int means it's integration related. Okay. So there are many other classes in Pega. We inherit from each one of them to complete your project. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. Guys, our next class is on Tuesday because we usually have classes Tuesday to Saturday. Okay. Indian Tuesday. For those who are from US, I'm just telling you guys it's Indian Tuesday. Okay. And it is at the same time 6:30 a.m. IST. So Tuesday to Friday we'll have it at 6:30 a.m. and Saturdays we'll have it at 8:30 a.m. In a team, how many developers will be there? It's depending upon the project requirement. You can have one developer, you can have 20 developers, purely the size of the project. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Next class is on Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. IST. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.